Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Take 10 with your host, Chris Smith. Today, I got a very, very special guest. I got Brent Midling, or as you all know, Charles Barkley of Team Frog Log Krog Dog. You all know him from Discord. He's very active in the Discord. I met him at Gen Con. We've been chit-chatting over Discord for a few weeks, actually for a while, and just came to be that, hey, I think people should get to know Brent more, or Charles, depending on how I'm going to call him Brent. He doesn't mind if I call him Charles, but I'm going to call him Brent because that's his real name. We're going to try to use real names here because my real name's not Brody, but whatever. So, anywho, everyone knows the format. This is episode 3. I'm going to ask Brent 10 questions about his time in the game, history leading up to the game, what he likes about the game, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to jump in right now to question number 1. Walk me through your CCG history, your journey, I guess, leading up to MHA. What caught your eye about the game, and what really grabbed you? Like, what really was like, hey, I really want to play this game competitively. So why don't you start off with your history, leading into MHA?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So I picked up card games when I was about 8, which was like 1995-ish.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I know. I'm a boomer.
Nah, I'm way older than you. I was 15 in that. I was 15 in 1995. So yeah.
But Magic stuff were out. I had been collecting comic book and sports cards with my family as just a hobby.
Okay.
There was a card store probably 6 blocks from my house that we'd go bike up to and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I'd spend my allowance. And then I was like, oh, these cards I can do something with rather than just sit and look at.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm in. My first game was Legend of the Five Rings.
Okay.
Because I bought a scry and they gave me a pack of Forbidden Knowledge.
I remember scry. I remember that. I might jump in real quick. I remember they would do with the Pokemon articles and the DBZ articles and Legend of the Five Rings. I remember those. I miss those types of things. Those old magazines.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to interject. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. No, I loved them quite a bit. I bought Scry and Inquest religiously every month.
Okay.
And learn about everything I possibly could from card games from those two things. Mm-hmm. And then being an early adopter of the internet.
Okay.
So I was always trying to find who won L5R tournaments, what factions were getting stuff, all the tournament info from that. Mm-hmm. I got from there, I went into Star Wars, Magic. I sold off decent sports cards to trade to the store for cards for other competitive games. And I've been playing tournaments since I was probably about 9 or 10.
Okay.
I did pretty good at some of the Magic stuff and L5R stuff locally. But I didn't really get competitive into card games until Warlord and Game of Thrones.
Okay, I remember both of those games. I never played them, but I was aware of both those games. Yeah.
In Warlord, I did I hit top cuts in a couple of decent size events. When we would travel, me and a few friends would go to Chicago. Okay. I played it at Gen Con a couple times, and I had a lot of fun with that. It was good. Still a teenager, and it was just a good time. Fooling around, playing cards. With Game of Thrones, I was still in high school, and I was actually the second best player in the world at one point.
Oh, cool.
They had an interesting ranking system where you basically earned points every time you played in an event. And if you topped it, you earned a bunch of points.
Okay.
And we were one of the few stores that fired off locals every week. So because of that, we had 3 or 4 players in the top 15 just because we played so much more than everybody else.
Gotcha.
But the top 2 players at the time did come to town from Minnesota, and I did play them and beat them, and that felt really good because it made me go, oh, it's not just that I'm playing more than everybody else. I'm not terrible. So that was
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Cool, cool.
Uh, yeah. From there, at one of the Gen Cons, I demoed UFS because it had King of Fighters characters, and I'm
Mm.
a huge fighting game fan. Uh, and then first time it died with Saber, I
Yeah,
bought a ton of cards on the cheap because boxes were like 10, $20. And I'm like, okay, cool. I couldn't convince anyone to play locally originally,
yeah.
but I took the cards I bought and made like decks out of everything. And I probably have like 20, 30 decks sitting around my house somewhere
Okay.
that I've built there. And then from there, we just played it as a board game, like 4 or 5 people trying to kill each other with homemade multiplayer rules.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think everyone has invented like multiplayer rules for UFS, and it doesn't come down to like how teams is normally played, but it's really fun when you just come up with your own like homebrew type stuff and just kind of have fun with the cards that because if you have no one really to play with like at a tournament like local level, it's always fun just to kitchen table stuff.
Yep. So we kitchen tabled it a bunch while it was dead. Then with it getting picked up by FFG, I ended up buying a bunch of that, and eventually we rotated it out as a board game, like at some point or another. And I never managed to convince anyone to play it again, and it sat dormant in my closet for like 10 years.
That's funny. Yeah, I imagine that's if you talk to a lot of people who've played pre Jasco and then they kind of just stop playing, and then with the resurgence of MHA, you can kind of see how people are coming back into the fold just because it's just there's people to play against. So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
But yeah, no, we definitely had I vaguely followed the game. Like I bought apparently I bought a box once in a while
Hmm.
because I found a box of Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers in my closet.
Oh, cool.
But um, I hadn't played it at all. And one day I'm at the store playing Magic on a Friday, and they're like, "Hey, My Hero Academia came out this week. We're one of the premier stores. Good partnership with Asmodee." And
Hmm.
I'm like, "Wait, what?" So I immediately buy a box and a starter. I like text a couple of my friends who are big My Hero fans. I'm like, "Yo, there's a card game of this now, and it's this game that we both played when when we were children. So you want to play this?" I already bought some,
Awesome.
and
Yeah,
so we sat
yeah.
there. Yeah,
There's no better reason to get your friends into it and be like, hey man, I already spent money, so come on, come spend money with me as well. You know?
yeah. So we basically have been convincing people that we hang out with, hey, just play this card game. I bought 3 boxes
Hmm.
to start off with. He bought 4, and another one of our friends bought 5. And then so we saw a ton of set one getting opened pretty quick, and the couple of the store employees were pretty into the game, and we get locals of we immediately were getting like 6-ish people, but we had about 15 in the area who'd play,
Hmm.
and now we're at pretty consistent 8 to 10, and probably about 30 people I know who play at least.
Those are
I'm hoping.
some pretty big numbers, actually. That's actually very impressive for like a newer play group. That's very good.
Yeah, me and my friends are pretty good at convincing people. That's what it comes down to. It's like, hey, we're playing this card game. We're having more fun than everybody else.
Yeah,
Uh, you know,
that makes
that's
sense. So
yeah, you're sitting there playing this. That's how it goes.
that kind of leads me into my next question then. Obviously, you're getting people to play the game that probably had never played the game before. So obviously, you do have favorite things about the game. So what part of MHA CCG are your favorite? Like, what's your favorite part of the game overall that kind of
Uh,
gets you excited to like basically sell it to other people?
my favorite thing, and I think the easiest way to sell the game to people, is just the fact that the game, every character plays exactly how you
Mm-hmm.
like. Bakugo destroys his own stuff. and plays a super risky style to try and just blow someone up for 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah.
Eraserhead sits there and stops you from being able to do what you normally do, and you have to play a weird control game against.
Mhm.
Froppy jumps around and smacks you for 40 billion damage. You know, every,
That's very
every
true.
character, every character, it plays like how you think. It's very satisfying.
Mhm.
And so, I'm like, basically what our original goal was we'd have a deck for every single character built in set one, and then we'd basically play a demo game with them, demo decks, and then ask them what they wanted to play character wise, and we'd then hand them a pre-built deck
Oh,
and go to
cool.
town and show them, what it's like.
That's pretty good. That's awesome. That's a really good. I think it's a really good selling tools to demo them first so they can kind of get the mechanics down, and then you go, well, who's your favorite character? And then they're like, well, Midoriya is my favorite character. And then like you hand them a Midoriya deck, and then you let them beat the shit out of you because it's Midoriya. But you just make sure they have a good time playing their favorite character. That actually adds into the experience so much.
Exactly. That was our big thought, was if we had everything on hand, then we could, just be able to sell the game to people, because we wanted to grow a community so we could actually have a bunch of people showing up.
Mhm. Mhm. You're out of Ohio or Michigan? You're out of Michigan,
Uh,
right? You're out of
Out of
Michigan.
Kalamazoo. Yep.
Kalamazoo. Okay. That's the western part of Michigan, or am I wrong?
Yep. We're Southwest Michigan. We're
Okay.
halfway between Chicago, so it's like a 2.5 hour drive each way.
Oh, okay. That's not terrible because, for Chicago events, come on, Jasco, give us a regional. Give us a regional in Chicago, please.
Oh, oh yeah. If Chicago or Detroit, the second you guys get regionals, provisionals, or championships,
Oh yeah.
I'm probably able 6 to 8 people, maybe even more, to come down to them. I'm
That's
pretty
awesome.
excited.
Well, speaking of set 3 and season 3 hopeful events, because there are, we know a lot of them, but with set 3 coming out, what cards are you looking like? What type of cards are you looking forward to? This leads me to my next question. With the like, we've noticed that it's like a back pagey type set. What are you? And today we've seen, as of recording, we saw Midnight's cards, which we're gonna go over later in the episode. What are you hoping for? Like what archetypes are you hoping gets boosted a bit, or are you looking for a specific piece for a deck, or just give us a couple shout outs. Like what are you looking for?
My number one card I need in this game right now, Gran Torino's Microwave. If we get a Gran Torino's Microwave asset, sold forever. Uh, it's the most important treasured artifact in the entire card game world. Like, Gran Torino loves that thing so much, and yet still smashes it quite a bit.
It's,
But
it could just be the most mundane asset, but it just needs to
yeah,
be in the game. It just needs to be.
exactly.
That's
Like, you
awesome.
know how many people I have delighted by showing them like box full of babies,
Mhm.
just the goofy stuff that the game comes up with.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it's
Oh yeah, if we could get box full
but
of babies, we definitely need a Gran Torino microwave. We definitely do.
exactly. But beyond that, what I really want to see is a couple of foundations to make Tokoyami 2 feel better. Because
Mm,
as of right now, I'm just not super satisfied with where that deck's at.
yeah, yeah.
Because Tokoyami is my favorite character. I
Okay,
think that
okay, cool.
I would really love to not have to only play Tokoyami just to be able to play my favorite character.
Sure,
Other
sure.
than that, yeah, just like a couple of cards to support some of the weaker decks that could use it. I mean, I was super super satisfied with like the Sato stuff once I saw it. I think
Mhm.
the new Stain cards are really good, and it'll give him a boost because I think
Yeah.
he's underrated right now. There's a
Mm.
lot of that's the kind of thing I'm looking for, is things to make weaker decks. Like if Kamui Woods gets a couple cards, that guy could be electric, and he's
Yeah.
already good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing I think that I'm a big fan of set 3 is because we have these deck archetypes or characters that are kind of underplayed or just kind of thrown by the wayside because they're not like the easy type of deck to build, and we're getting these back page cards to really boost their playability, I guess, and to maybe give people a second like look at them. Like, like everyone liked Midnight, everyone liked Sato 1, and look at the Sato 2 cards, the Toro 2 cards, like, they're really giving these promo characters some type of second life in a way that um, Jasko's never done before, because normally it's a set, you have your archetypes, next set new archetypes with some of it kind of building backwards. We've always had like a not a linear design pattern, but it's more of like a, hey, in this set this stuff does this, next set this stuff does that, and there's no real working backwards in a way with like sets. So I'm kind of happy like the set 3 is a like not like a not like a booster draft set, but more of like a just like to help out everybody in the long run.
Yeah, it's like the weird supplemental sets, Flesh and Blood, where it's like this entire set's support to archetypes that already exist. And I absolutely love that,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, because a bunch of the promo characters, like, honestly, like somebody like Gunhead probably needs a card or two that helps him out.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we're getting them for so many of these characters, and I never thought we were going to see like support cards for most of them just because they were promo characters.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of promo characters and where you can get promo characters are events. I know you do. I know you have a really healthy local scene, and I know you've hit a lot of provisionals. You've hit Gen Con. Are you planning on doing anything in season 3? I'd let the people at home know.
Yeah, I'm catch some of uh if depending on how things, I'm going to play every online event I can,
Mm-hmm.
and if anything lines up well, I have vacation to burn in, so I'll probably try to catch nationals if anything, if it's anywhere reasonable. If I qualify for worlds, obviously I'll do that. Don't think that's happening, but who knows with nationals?
Yeah. Top eight. You make top eight, you could qualify automatically.
Exactly, that's
Yep.
the goal. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, it'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, which is kind of exciting because like this new type of point system thing they've done for Worlds is really really new. Usually in the old game, Worlds was a open forum. Same thing with Nationals. It was just open. You didn't have to qualify or anything. PTCs. Kind of like what provisionals are now, they gave plane tickets so you could fly to like another event or whatever. And
Yeah, that'd be nice.
nationals gave cardboard. Same thing with Worlds, gave cardboard, but now there's money involved, so that's even cooler because I imagine that's they're not going to pay out to like 100 people, so that's why it's capped at 32, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping. I know like everyone is anyone who has a chip and a chair is really hoping to grab one of those 8 spots at nationals to get auto qualified because everybody wants to be like in the first worlds, because I think that actually like not that it diminishes over time, but the first worlds actually means a lot more, I think, than the next one or the next one, because it's like it was brand new and
Yeah, it'd be super cool to have your mark in history. It's like, hey, I was at the first World. I'd love to do it. Heck, there's even the last chance qualifiers that they'll have like the day before,
mm-hmm.
and you never know there even, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know, like I'm tempted if it's like if it's on a feasible schedule, because that's the only issue is that we don't know when Worlds is, so it's
Yeah,
really hard to plan for it because there's the Jasco vote in, there's the 8 slots, there's the 5 slots for points, there's the other like there's like the Oceanic Nationals, the the European Nationals, so it's just there's a lot of opportunity to qualify if you want to put in the effort. Um, but the last chance qualifiers, I think there's only like 3 or 4, and I wonder if
yeah,
if it's going to
something
be
like
like 100-man grinders, you know, because I can only imagine people running from last chance qualifier to register to last chance qualifier if they don't win it. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
It makes me really wonder, like, are they just gonna do like four of them at once, or are they just gonna like run them consecutively in one day and just be like, well, you're gonna have to sit through them all if you want to try to, it's just gonna be, oh boy, just I could just see it, like, because that's what people do at, at Orlando. They had at the regional day two, kind of like at Gen Con, where they had like provisionals the next day, um, on the Sunday, and there's four of them running consecutively because there's so many people wanting to play in the provisional to get the promos obviously, and
Yep.
and get that 2 round bye at a regional. So it's just kind of funny that there's these last chance qualifiers, and I'm wondering if there's just gonna be like 400 people crammed into a little room trying to qualify, for Worlds or whatnot. Just makes me really chuckle because we all fit into Lucas Oil Stadium at Gen Con pretty well. Like it was
Yep.
very spacious. It was that, but I have no idea where Worlds is going to be. I hope it's in an arena like that where you have the space and people aren't like piled on top of each other. So it'd be really nice if they would come. I know they're probably in logistics working it all out for nationals and Worlds, but it'd be nicer to know sooner than later.
I'm gonna guess Vegas, and they're just trying to find a venue there
Mm-hmm.
because that's their home, their HQ, and that just makes things easier for them. But
Yeah.
I'd be pleasantly surprised no matter where it is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do think Worlds will be in Vegas. It's nationals. I think there's been rumors. I mean, it's more of like card player speculation that Texas may have one because in November there's like a giant anime con the weekend after Thanksgiving. And you know how Jasco likes to schedule their events on holiday weekends. So there's a good guesstimation that nationals will be that weekend. Atlanta could be something. Chicago would be great. Jasco, it'd be fantastic.
I'd kill for Chicago, man.
Oh
That's just
yeah.
a drive.
Yeah, for sure. Like I could. It's a day. It's not even a day trip for me. Like I just drive an hour, drive back. It's just, and it's so easy to get to because like O'Hare's so easy to fly into, and it's kind of equidistant across the country. It all costs the same to get in there, and it's one of the busiest airports in the world, and the food's great, yada yada yada. But yeah,
Oh
so.
yeah,
But yeah. Before we move into the lightning round, I want to ask one thing that's been on my mind though.
yeah.
Please explain to me frog, log, crog, dog. I need to know this.
Okay. So, my first serious deck was what do you call it? Tokoyami,
Okay.
and we all know the beautiful, wonderful card Crow and Frog Takedown. That
Sure.
will never get banned because it's not offensive, right?
Yeah.
But my one friend and I on our team, we were grinding games at the store from noon to 10.
Okay.
We just went and took. We went from our house to the store and played, and we probably played like 4 hours before. I got up at like 8 a.m., started deck building, made breakfast, and then just played my hero for
Okay.
14 hours.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
And near the end of it, I'm clearly done. And he's like, play like one more game. And I'm like, sure. So at that point, I switched back to Tokoyami because I'm like, this is the deck I can play in my.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting there, and I'm trying to tell him what I'm doing, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm playing the frog log crog dog as I'm like falling asleep at the table.
And such
And a couple of our
legends
other
were
friends are
born.
just dying laughing over me like not being able to put together the words, and we just thought it was super funny.
Cool.
And so we ran with that. It also works out pretty well because out of the three people that we started off with, my one friend Alex is he's a Froppy main. I was a Crow main, and the other guy was a Log main of Kamui Wood.
Kamui Woods. Okay, that's where the log comes in. Okay, I was wondering where that came
Yeah,
from.
he's
Okay.
a Log.
Yeah, he's a log. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we ever get the dog police chief, there we go. We got
Yep.
Frog Log Krog Dog all set up.
Somewhere Jose is screaming because we're calling Kamui Woods a log. Somewhere. Sorry, Jose, but not sorry. So
He's a log made of wood.
he is. He's very. Okay, cool. I appreciate that. That's good. That's some good history there because now we know where your team name because it's also the name of your YouTube channel, right? Your YouTube channel is also
Yep,
that
yep.
named that. So, please
It
go
is.
check out Brent's YouTube channel. We'll get it posted in the description box
Uh,
below. Go
yeah,
get.
it's Team Froglog Crog Dog on YouTube. I also have a TikTok under Froglog Crog Dog. I do pack openings,
Okay.
deck pro, stuff like that.
So hitting all the social medias, unlike this old man here who is only on Discord and YouTube. So yeah, because I
Yeah,
don't touch the rest of the stuff. All right, so
I,
we're in the halfway point of the episode, and we know what that means. It is the lightning round. Cue the crazy Denki Kaminari thingy majig.
どうする離れてはめれた130万バルト
All right, so the way the lightning round works, Brent, is that I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and it's usually about your favorite thing. It's not really hard. It's usually the first thing that pops into your brain. So I need the first thing that pops into your brain. So we're going to ask 5 things. You ready? We
I'm
already know the.
ready.
I think we already know the first one because you've said it 6 times already. Your favorite MHA character.
Clearly, it's covering. No, it's Tokuya. He's my jam.
Awesome.
I've just really vibed with the dark, broody guitarist bird with a second soul.
Nice.
It's a really cool character design. I just love it,
Cool.
and I think the fact that he doesn't necessarily control his power is a very cool concept to play around with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can get a lot of interesting design in the future. Like I'd love to see what a Tokoyami 3 looks like from like when he loses control and the thing's out,
Mm-hmm.
trying to kill his friends.
Yeah. Second question. Favorite cartoon as a child?
Ooh. Gut reaction probably be GI.
Okay. Favorite food?
That really depends on the day.
Right now.
Sushi.
Okay, sushi. Okay. Your favorite attack in MHA, the card game. Your favorite attack currently.
Gotta be Froglog Crog Dog. Crow and Frog Takedown is just a good card, and I'm never sad to see 3 of them in my opening hand and just go, all right, guess I'm dumpstering the guy on turn 2.
Fair enough. All right, so this one's kind of a layup. Your favorite NBA player?
Clearly it's Dennis Rodman. No, it's Charles Barkley. I as a Michigan guy, I'm a big. I grew up. I was like 5 when the Pistons were winning titles, so I was a huge Pistons fan also.
Okay.
But I very much identify with Charles Barkley as a small child. I thought he was the best.
Okay. I see. I see. I didn't really. I'm not a huge basketball fan, so I followed the Bulls in the '90s because everyone followed the Bulls in the '90s in Illinois.
Yeah.
You just did. And Michael Jordan is the greatest NBA player of all time by my calculations because I don't follow basketball, so I'm just gonna assume that's still true today.
It's
Maybe.
still pretty. Honesty for
Yeah. Okay. And then other than that, I know I usually watch the finals when the finals are on, but other than that, I really and when I listen to sports radio around here, all they do is complain about the Bulls. So I know they're okay. They were okay last year, or they made the playoffs and overperformed. I don't know. So I don't really know. So, but that ends the lightning round. Next. So you're kind of like the group leader, right? You're like the go-to guy
Yeah.
in your new group. So as a group leader, when you're starting a new group, what can a person say they're fresh off their first packs, they want to start a community. What advice can you give a new player trying to build a group?
First thing I can do is talk to your friend, find at least one person to play with, play in your store. That was one of the big things we did that actually just helped grow the community is every time we had time to kill, we would just go down to the store and play. So people would see the game, realize it's out, the number of like Magic players that I'll be talking to, and they'll be like, "I didn't know that was a game," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and you know, I can then go and give them a spiel, and because I'm in the LGS so often,
Mm-hmm.
like if they get someone who asks questions, they'll send them to me to talk to them. If I'm in there, they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go talk to Brent. He knows everything about the game," and I can give somebody the lowdown, and
Okay.
that helps a lot.
Okay.
Other than that, I play other events. So like I'll go to like Magic Friday nights. I'll go to like Flesh and Blood. I'll go to whatever I can, and I'll just bring my hero stuff with me. I'll bring on my hero playmat and basically just soft sell the game anyway, just because it's like, oh yeah,
You sit there just shuffling your deck and just pile shuffling and just practicing turns. And like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, you want to learn? And then they just sit down and they're hooked, right? So
I have taught like 5 people at Magic
that's awesome.
because it's something to do. Where it's like, hey, I beat me in 20 minutes. I beat you in 30. We have half an hour left of the round. I have 4 decks with me. Do you want to play this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a like. I think your first point is really good. That a lot of people don't realize that if no one sees a game being played at an LGS, they just assume nobody plays it, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And
That's like our store doesn't have Digimon at all because
okay.
nobody plays Digimon. We sell it, people buy it, but nobody plays it. And I've never seen a single person playing it there. But we're also, but people play everything else that you could think of.
Mm-hmm. Because I think like as when I first started the group here in Rockford, it was really hard because I sat down at a local LGS. I just people would walk by and like, you want to try it out? It's Mega Man versus Proto Man. And I hooked 2 people because of that, because it was Proto Man versus Mega Man, because they were big Mega Man fans, and so the IP kind of helps out, right?
Yeah,
It's like the gateway. It's like, hey, I got this MHA. What MHA? They have a card game, and it's just like. I don't know. It's just like, weebs to anime. It's just like, oh my god, you just kind of like just get hooked on it, and it's a way to pull people in, and then they get hooked by the mechanics and the deck building and how fun the game is, and the interaction. I think that sells it. Like once they learn the mechanics and people get used to playing, like they really like the interaction in between the two players, because not a lot of games do that I know of, because I've owned my card game portfolio is very small, so.
uh, Legend of the Five Rings, both the old and new one, had a very similar thing. Netrunner had a lot of back and forth, but yeah, it's generally pretty unique. There's very few games that are designed to play like it does in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how much back and forth the players give to each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
I've played like probably 60 different card games.
Okay. That's way like I think mine maybe 6 to 10 at most. I think. I don't know. I didn't stray very much. I went to almost Pokemon to Dragon Ball Z to GT to Versus, back to GT, back to Versus, and then didn't play anything, and then it was UFS and then MHA, and so it was not a whole lot. So never played Magic. Never played Y Schwartz. I own
It's
Y Schwartz cards though, because the cards are pretty. I own certain cards. I own Force of Will cards, but never played the game. But so um, it is what it is.
We're the home of Force of Will in the United States, as far as like
Oh
we had
really?
like 40 people for a pre-release for it last time I saw it even play.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So
Yeah, weird.
speaking of pre-releases, with Set 3 coming out and we're in full force of preview season, so far, what has been your favorite preview and your least favorite preview? Not like it's like the bad card, but what has been like what's the one that's like whet the deck builder appetite in you, and what one has just been like meh?
Okay. The one I'm least excited about is actually kind of easy. I don't think Toru 2 is more exciting than Toru 1. I
Okay.
absolutely love Toru 1 and the flashing attacks.
Mhm.
So I probably just wouldn't look at Toru 2 by comparison just
True.
because of that.
Okay.
Um, I think the one I'm most excited to fool around with is probably going to be like Nezu. Nezu's really exciting. It's got a lot of unique kit stuff that I think can be a lot of fun to play with.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think he's really cool as well, because we don't get to interact with draw that often, right? So like there's some cards that have been shown in 13's kit now, and Nezu, like you get to actually you don't cancel their draw or tell them they have to discard. You just get to draw along with them. So I'm like, hey, oh, you get to draw a card, or when you add a card to your hand, I'm gonna draw a card because drawing cards is fun. That's like one of the whole reason why I love All Might 3 is because I get to draw a million cards a turn.
Oh yeah.
You know? So, with set 3, now that we know Nezu is your favorite character, we're going to talk about the 4 previews that we saw today. Starting with Midnight's Attack. Somnambulism? I don't... It probably means like go to sleep. I can't pronounce the word. I don't know how to pronounce
Yep,
the
it's
word.
the ability, the art of like putting sleep.
So, it's our first attack that can commit, that just commits a rival's character. It is a 2-check. It's
Yep.
an ultra rare.
No.
It also has 3 keywords: breaker, stun 1, weapon. It also gives you card draw. It also has discard on its face. I love this card. I think the worst part about this card is that it's a mid. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely love it. I'm gonna 100% be fooling around with it with Midnight, even though it's a 2-check.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited to put that card to use. I think it's just dynamite.
I think it kind of it like just on this card alone, not even looking at the other 3 cards that we got today, it instantly pushes her almost to like that high A tier if you want to talk about tier
Yep.
lists. She may not be S tier, but because like I don't think there really is an S tier character outside maybe Froppy right now, even though that still remains to be seen because she lost some tools and yada yada yada. So she may be an A, but I think Midnight is finally in that solid A tier with this attack alone. Just because your
Yep.
Kirishimas, your Momos, like no Momo never wants to see her ever because you might as well just tap your character sideways because she can also play off of 2 of her symbols. She can also main Blood Curdle fine because if she doesn't need the Blood Curdles, she can just pitch it to her ability. She has she has really good tools now. Even though she was really solid in set 1 and 2, set 3 just kind of just adds like some oomph, some gravitas to her now. It's like no one wants to see her now.
Yeah, I'm really excited to put that to work. I think it's beautiful, and I think it's not going to be like an S tier because you're dumpstering people on turn 2 on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's healthy for the game anyway.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moving on to the next card is Easily Excited. It's the once per turn when after you play an attack, it gets a speed and it gains taunt if it does not already have it. So I need every XR copy of this, especially if it's full art because the art is hilarious. Another good thing about this card is it gives Void another 0 diff that has a relevant ability, so it adds some speed, but it also has a +2 high block, so it gives them a spam with a decent block.
Yep. That's the thing that had me most excited for it was just that it's another playable Void 0 diff. So your Eraser and your other Void characters can actually sit there and build comfortable 5 without having to gamble so much, or just hoping they drew a bunch of gotchas. So you can really lower your curve. Play 2s more comfortably.
Yeah, that was the big problem in set 1 and 2 is that for some reason they didn't want to give Void a second 0 diff, which was really, really weird, but now we're getting like 3 or 4 or 5 of them in this set, so whatever, it works out. And that all balances out. It's like that Thanos gif. It's all perfectly balanced now, right?
Yep, perfect. Obviously, couldn't be anything unbalanced here.
Next is All Worked Up. It's a 1/5 high block. This is the one that's discarded during the hand step. This attack gets +1 or -1 damage. So if you don't want to use Midnight on your turn, you can use it on your opponent's turn to give -1 damage. Also, you can destroy it to your next attack gets +1. Your next to play a card, next check to play a card gets +1. I'm reading really, really tiny lines font on my OBS screen, so I'm squinting like an old man. So you got some check boosting while playable while committed as well. So if you commit this to Midnight's effect, it still has some playable use, and it's another high block on a spam, which is not terrible. So like I don't know how if this is going to be seen maybe outside of Midnight much, unless we get like maybe Eraserhead may play this because you can discard it
Yep.
and get your race back, but it's going to see some uses. But it's obviously it's a Midnight card, so it's probably going to be like a 3 to 4x in her. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'll probably see play in Eraserhead because, like Late Riser, it's a card that you can pitch for value,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just that's his mo. And yeah, I think it's good in her. I don't think it's going to see too much play anywhere else. But other than that, I do think it's a nice card, and I'm glad they made it.
Most definitely. To the 2 diff. Spirited Referee. It's a 2/5 +3 mid, which in her doesn't really matter because you can block with +3 mids all day. Breaker
Yep.
1, and its response after this card is committed during the enhanced step. This attack gets +2 or -1 damage. Obviously playable while committed. So it gives her a little. What was her biggest problem in the set 1, set 2 meta was she didn't have like she had to find out other ways of getting damage, like a 1.3 million volts, or yeah, it was pretty much it. I think was that was like a lot of her extra damage was that, or like a powerful or whatever on like momentum. I haven't played Midnight in a while, so I'm going to be excited to delve back in. It gives her a little bit of a well. I'm using this resource. I get extra resources for using this resource for my enhanced commit for speed. You?
Yeah, I've experimented a bunch with Chaos on Snipe, Ball Might, and Midnight.
Okay.
And yeah, the biggest problem you have is you just don't have ways to make your attacks mean a lot. But something like this is another way to do that, and that helps a lot. I'm excited to put that to work. And then the fact that it's synergistic with her abilities already is nice because you're already committing to pay costs.
Yep.
So the ability to just add a damage or minus damage on your opponent's turn, that's just good value.
No, I totally agree. All right, that does it for this section of Brent and Chris's card review corner inside of Take 10. So moving on to the home stretch, we're on the final 3 questions, Brent. As I know, as of recording tonight, you went to locals, and you were talking about how you were playing a Kirishima 2 deck, I believe.
Yep.
With like a fourth kind sideboard, and messing around with the fire stuff. What decks have you been playing, either competitively or at locals, that you've been enjoying a lot, and why have you been enjoying those decks?
I've been really enjoying a Mina 1 deck. I built a Mina 1 Chaos that's built around, what is it, Award the Victor?
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
that lets you rig your So you play an attack, you rig the check, you play another thing, you get to play the attack back again, free thing. And I think that's super fun. It's interesting, discordant gameplay that people don't expect, and that's been a blast. I played some Gran Torino. I built like a Gran Torino tribal discard on Void, and I think that deck's pretty close to getting there. I managed to win a lot of games just off of taking the no cards in hand and then dropping an Airstream driver. Left damage is nothing to laugh at, really.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun. Let's see here. Yeah, I was testing a lot of Momo 2 with Water Amphibious and her new foundation off of the DLC. But with the amphibious banning, it just means I don't get to abuse the readying as much there. But I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cute deck. But I built the Kirishima today on fire using all the Bakugo 1 attacks and just doing the Fury pile. And that stuff's good. Like I ran like Blast Rush Turbo as a finish because I'm like, well, I'm gonna have like 10 Fury attacks and discard, and then using like Let's Fight Bad Guys, Pump Speed. I was running Sugar Rush Power Up, and Go for the Wins. I had 4 Go for the Wins in the deck.
Yeah.
So at one point, I sent a 12 speed, 21 damage Blast Rush Turbo at my opponent.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a card people aren't playing much, and
Mm-hmm.
between you, there's some interesting synergy there that I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it that that go for the win play in Kirishima too, because you could actually get because you with your enhance and other effects you can get down below your opponent, and then you can use his enhance, maybe build one, you're still under, you crack one, you build two using go for the win, and you can just keep going and going and going. It's one of those neat cards that I really appreciate being in the format outside of Ready, Get, Set, Go, which I think that card might need to not be in the format, but whatever. That's just my opinion, and whatever. So
The symbols that Ready, Get, Set, Go on are the ones I don't think needed the help as much, which is the biggest problem.
probably,
Like,
yeah, true.
I've played into a Jiro who, build my four, so I have the ability to play the game, and then watch as they double Ready, Get, Set, Go, and I go, oh, okay. I guess you have 9 foundations to my 4.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can recover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely I think it was put into the game to help out player two, but it ends
Yeah,
up being too good of a card for player two because you're obviously you don't get to unless you're a seven-hander, you don't get to just hold it with two foundations in hand going first, right? So, you know, on average, you're probably going to end up trying to build as much as you can if you're a seven-hander because you need to defend. So, on average, you may not even have a foundation to play with it.
the part that's what I run into is like it really feels bad to try and play around it,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, your opponent won't necessarily always have it.
Very
It's
true.
just this interesting little gamble, but when you get punished, it feels so
It
awful.
it does feel
But
very bad, yeah.
on the other hand, it's the first time I ever experimented with actually choosing to go second. Was I built a greed pile on Bakugo 2 on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, all right, go second, mulligan until I get a ready, get set, go, and then drop that in a new training method and try and build like 6 on turn 1.
Turn one, yeah. Yep, and then somehow hopefully survive your opponent's second turn. But yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's you have so little ways to actually defend yourself
Mm-hmm.
without any character defense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but you could build a million foundations,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
fun.
something. That's
Then you
something.
start blowing.
Yeah. All right. So question 9. As we kind of know what's happening for the remainder of the 2022 season with Nationals and Worlds, what is your number one thing that you would love to see from Jasco Games? Granted, it may be a set, a reprint set, an actual OP schedule, more transparency. What's the number one thing you want to see from Jasco Games in 2023?
The number one thing I'd like to see would be well, with the store championships. I think that's going to be a big thing. I'd love to see more, big, more decent sized events that are just happening at stores. Like we have, uh, like probably at least one, like 1K or RCQ or something like that for Magic at
Mm-hmm.
my LGS a month,
Okay.
and just have something like that to draw people on a monthly basis would be amazing. Because
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to have a reason to go to another store, be very exciting. Um, Otherwise, I'd love to see them announce another property, just to have something other than My Hero. I
Yeah.
love My Hero. Don't get me wrong; it's my favorite anime out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you told me next week that we were getting like a Food Wars set or a Trigun set, something like that,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, yeah, I'm in. Sounds
Yeah,
great.
I'm
Play.
down. Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, because I know like I've been talking to you and some of the other Michigan guys about and our local store is going to do a case event once we know when set three's coming out. So, I mean, like I think that's a pretty good idea. Is like having a case event or like a 1K, kind of like how Jacob and Somerville did with a didn't pan out to be a 1K. It was a 0.3K, but still though it was still a money tournament. I know Jasco probably doesn't want to do like a money tournament circuit, which I get it because they have their own
Yeah,
money tournament circuit, but like something like the store championships is a good start because it's going to give us one, access to these provisional promos a lot easier, and two, it's going to get people traveling to these other stores instead of just sitting at their home store, which isn't always a bad thing, but it's always nice to travel and see other people's locations.
Yeah, because I think there's like 5 or 6 decent sized Michigan communities, without even going into Illinois, Ohio, or Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that we'd have reasons to go to each other's stores and play without having to put something hugely together ourselves would be really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I know my TO for my LGS has been clamoring for the entire time the game has been out, to be able to have like a higher rank judging so he can run bigger events. Because that's one of our big goals. The store in general is just to be able to run events on stuff.
Sure. I know. I know that they haven't done anything new. Maybe they're waiting to revamp, maybe like redo OP, because I know like the new OP head guy kind of inherited all this, so I know that he's going to put his mark on it going forward next year. So maybe we get an actual judge test, a level 2. I think, because I think everybody's a level 1 judge who can just go to locals, because if you can pass the test, you're a level 1 judge, right?
Yeah, we be 3 or 4 white belts at the event.
Yeah.
Like I spend my game casually helping other people with rulings as I'm playing, just because I'm playing all day.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think it's really fair to say that. Just of Jasco is like, hey, put your LGS stores at the forefront. Like, I know you want to have a great OP circuit, but your LGS is your lifeblood to your game, so you really want to make sure they're taken care of, which I think for the most part they do. It's just they need just a little bit extra, I think, something else, like a sweetener, like, just to add on top.
Yeah.
Just a cherry. So all right, so we're coming up to an hour. So this is the part of the show where I give the floor to you. You can call out, shout out, tell everybody what you're doing, what you got going on in your life. You can just run with it. You don't say anything. You can say that's it and I'm done, whatever. But yeah, call out, shout outs, tell people at home what you got going on in your life.
Well, my life's good. I run role playing games. Like I run a scuffed My Hero Academia Champions, which is like an 80s superhero RPG.
Cool.
That's somehow still around. I run that with another guy, and that's been a ton of fun. I play a ton of cards. I've been trying to do YouTube and TikTok just because I feel like there's a lot of space that just wasn't being occupied nearly as well. Like there are not a ton of My Hero people on TikTok, but there's a ton of people who watch TikToks related to My Hero Academia. So I figured, there's just a chance to build an audience for the game there.
Okay.
And it's just a chance to, expand our pool of players.
Cool.
Call outs. Yeah. I'd love to beat Ryan Fields. I won a game off of him at Gen Con, and I would love to actually take an entire set off of him finally in an event. I've lost to him like 4 different events now.
Sure.
And I'd love to finally get that fixed.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I'd love to beat you. I'd love to come to your store and just take a case right out from under you. That would feel pretty good.
That'd be awesome. I would totally love that. That's like because I know we played in the one provisional we played in provisional 6, the one that I won, and you were playing Tokiyami, and I'm like, oh god, here we go again, because I had lost it to one earlier in the day, and I ended up winning. But yeah, it was just like a rivalry was born. Like Tokiyami is like my Asui. It's I struggle to beat him, and I struggle to beat Jiro, but I can beat Asui. I don't know why. I don't know how. Yep. I don't find Asui as bad as the other two, but that's just me, because it's just me. So whatever. Sorry to hijack your segment. So.
Oh no, you're fine. I feel the exact same way. I have never struggled on beating Frog. Like I always feel like it's a nice fair matchup for me, because I'm like, I know how to squish a Frog.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I've got a million. I can handle it. Sometimes I'll lose, but that's fine. I struggle with Hero. Sometimes I just go, they played 3 double jab pummels. I guess I lose.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Like this last 12 damage. Sure.
Yep.
But no, I'd also like to say I'm going to get revenge on you, Blaff. Next time we play, I'm beating you.
You are I love this because you were the first person that I've asked for call out. Oh wait, yeah. Andrew called out Travis in the first episode, but I don't think Rob the next I think this is wait. This is episode 4. Wow, I'm really bad. We're on episode 4 because episode 3 comes out this week. Because I do all these every other week. So yeah, oopsies. But anywho, I think only two people have called out other people. So I appreciate the call outs. I really do. Any shout outs?
Yeah, I'd love to shout out. There's tons of people who've been super cool to me as I've played in the game. The Jasco people were super nice to me at Origins and Gen Con. Thanks Soldier for being a great sport and hanging out with me at Gen Con. I had a great time with that. My boys Frog Dog Kroglog. I'd love to see them do some more stuff. Actually get some more reps out there and maybe do well in a provisional or a regional. That's all great. Also, where's Shub? Where is Shub? The mysteries will never be answered, and we need them.
I love that. Oh my gosh, it has all come back to where is Shub, people. You heard it here first. It's come back to where is Shub. It's cyclical. Circle, the circle of life. Feeling it.
When
Feeling it.
T6 spawn.
All right. So thanks, Brent, for coming on, taking the time out of your busy day. I know like you had locals, and I had to reschedule because of yesterday, but I appreciate you coming on and shooting the shit with me and having fun on Take 10. So again, appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I had a wonderful. It was a great pleasure. I enjoyed it a lot.
Cool, awesome. So everyone, like all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Brent's YouTube is going to be in the description box below. Go ahead and subscribe to him. I know we're going to have some more stuff coming out as things fly off the shelves, like card previews, more podcasts. Because I know we have Provisional Online 8. We got the Regional next weekend, which would probably be after this is probably put out. I don't know when this is going out. I just hand the stuff to the editor. He throws it out. So again, have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining. And Ryan, roll those damn credits, Ryan. Roll those credits. Roll them. Roll those credits.